Imagine being sentenced to a punishment so brutal, it's almost impossible to fathom. In ancient Greece, they didn't just imprison criminals, they invented some of the most terrifying and bizarre methods of punishment ever known to mankind. From being thrown into a pit of snakes to enduring a slow, painful death in public, these punishments were meant to send a message. But how far did they really go in their pursuit of justice? Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear will shock you. Let's start with one of the most infamous punishments in ancient Greece, the Brazen Bull. This was no ordinary execution. The Brazen Bull was a terrifyingly ingenious invention designed to make the punishment as cruel as possible. Picture this: a giant hollow bull made entirely of bronze, meticulously crafted with a door that could be sealed shut. The condemned person was placed inside, and a fire was lit beneath the bull, slowly roasting them alive. As the heat intensified, the person inside would scream in agony, yet, instead of human cries, the bull's design would turn those screams into eerie, muffled sounds resembling the bellowing of an angry bull. This grotesque punishment wasn't just about execution, it was about public spectacle. The citizens of Athens, or wherever it was used, would gather in crowds to witness the horrific event, a chilling reminder of the consequences of breaking the law. But who would create such a device? It's said that the Brazen Bull was invented by a man named Pillos of Athens. After presenting it to the tyrant Valerius of Sicily as a form of punishment, the tyrant was so impressed that he decided to test it on the very man who created it. The twisted irony? Pillos himself was thrown into the bull, paying the ultimate price for his invention. This gruesome method of execution continued for years, striking terror into the hearts of those who feared the wrath of the law. The Brazen Bull symbolizes the extreme measures ancient Greece was willing to take to maintain order, and the terrifying lengths they went to punish those who dared defy them. Next up is one of the most psychologically tormenting punishments, the scorpion's pit. This one wasn't about instant death, it was a slow, agonizing process of suffering that played with the mind of the condemned. In ancient Greece, the scorpion's pit was exactly as it sounds: a deep, dark pit filled with venomous creatures, most notably scorpions and snakes. The punishment was reserved for those who had committed heinous crimes, but rather than ending their lives quickly, they were thrown into the pit to face their worst fears. Imagine being trapped underground, unable to escape, as these deadly creatures crawled over you, stung you, and bit you with no way to stop it. The terrifying part of this punishment wasn't just the physical pain, it was the overwhelming mental anguish of knowing that death was inevitable, but coming slowly and painfully. The victim was forced to wait out the pain, all while struggling to stay alive long enough to endure the inevitable venom coursing through their veins. This punishment didn't just take place in one specific place. While most famous for being used in Sparta, the scorpion's pit was also rumored to have been used in other parts of ancient Greece as well. The use of venomous animals wasn't just a test of physical endurance, it was a psychological game. Imagine the constant fear, the horror of knowing that each sting, each bite, might be the one that finishes you off. It was a nightmare that could stretch on for days. The scorpion's pit wasn't just punishment, it was a public spectacle, too. The citizens could witness the condemned person's long, drawn-out suffering, making the experience a terrifying example of the consequences of lawbreaking. This method of torture, though cruel, was an effective deterrent to those who might consider breaking the law. And while it's difficult to imagine the mental toll this punishment took, it was clear that it was meant to break both body and spirit in one swift strike of terror. One of the most disturbing and slow executions in ancient Greece was known as the plank of death, a form of punishment that combined physical torment with an agonizing and inevitable fate. Unlike the swift end of the Brazen Bull or the immediate danger of the scorpion's pit, the plank of death was a drawn-out ordeal, designed to torture the condemned both mentally and physically. Here's how it worked. The condemned person was tied to a wooden plank, suspended over the sea. The plank was then gradually tilted, slowly pushing the prisoner closer and closer to the waves below. It wasn't a quick drop, no, it was a slow, agonizing process. The victim's feet might just graze the water, but not enough to drown them right away. Instead, they would be left to struggle, battling the elements and the terror of knowing that as the plank tilted further, they would eventually be submerged into the sea, left to drown in agony. This slow descent into the water was meant to be a horrifying combination of the physical toll of being suspended and the mental strain of waiting for a cruel, drawn-out death. The condemned person would struggle against the sea, as waves and exhaustion took their toll, while onlookers watched from a distance. The torment was not just in the waiting, but in the uncertainty, the gradual realization that no matter how hard you fought, the end was coming. The plank of death was most commonly used in the city-state of Athens. It wasn't merely a punishment, it was a form of public humiliation. The plank wasn't just a way to execute someone, it was a way to make sure the fear of a slow, inevitable death was embedded in the minds of the public. In the ancient world, where executions were often viewed as a form of public spectacle, the plank of death was one of the most gruesome and psychologically damaging ways to make an example of someone. It wasn't just about punishing the body, it was about destroying the spirit, too. For the condemned, it was a punishment where escape from the water was as impossible as escape from their fate. These unimaginable punishments from ancient Greece remind us of the extremes societies can go to when enforcing their laws and maintaining control. The cruelty and psychological torment of these methods show just how far people will push the boundaries of justice and fear. While these ancient practices may seem barbaric to us today, they reflect the intense pressure and consequences of living in a society where the stakes of defiance were life and death. If you found these punishments as shocking as we did, hit that like button and share this video with anyone who might want to learn more about the dark side of history. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you never miss out on more fascinating and chilling stories from the past. And leave a comment below. What do you think about these ancient punishments? Would you have survived them? Let's discuss.